Welcome to Tabletop Gaming Guild. Tabletop Gaming Guild show is all about the memories and experience of playing tabletop games with friends and family can create. On this episode, we're going to be talking loosely as unprofessional people about AI art and its potential impact on the board game or tabletop industry in general. Like your Kickstarters, the art that's in the RPG books, or even art in board games. But before we do any of that, we're going to start off with talking about what we've been playing. Now, John's been absent for a little while, so I'm going to make John go first.
Oh, well, yeah, I've been absent for a while because I've been in pain, but yeah.
Pain is no excuse.
I did, but you know what? Despite that, I did manage to get a game in. It was the Shivers. Because we were kind of doing a little bit of a Halloween theme. Yeah, and so, I mean, our group was a little rambunctious, if I was to describe the other members of our family that was exploring the house. One of them wanted to chug the milk, and I was like, "You cannot chug a gallon of milk." And then that led to a whole side discussion on that. But yeah, it's like I would describe it as kind of like an escape room. Is what it kind of felt like, because you're just kind of piecing things together, and you're like, "Oh, hey, let's go and take a look at this." We're kind of like investigating things. So I mean, yeah, thematically it looks beautiful. So yeah, you're like in the kind of the mood for a more story and like escape roomish kind of game. That's the thing to play.
Now you're supposed to also role play a little bit in it too, right?
You can.
Okay. Did you guys?
Yeah, like as far as like some of them, yeah, like one person opened up and found a banana and they're like scared of fruit. So yeah.
Get this away from me.
Yep. So I mean, yeah, we kind of did that a little bit. Like I said, the two sisters were a little bit on the zany side. Like I said,
okay.
One of them got an invisibility cloak and then was like trying to pretend to be the cat we were supposed to be looking for, like rubbing up on people and meowing, trying to be an invisible cat.
Gosh. So that sounds awesome. So I guess you like the game.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
Like, are you going to eventually invest in the additional expansions and content?
I'm probably not, because I know somebody who has it, and
okay, that works.
Yeah, and if I'm gonna play it, he's gonna be the one that's running it anyway. So yeah, because I mean,
and it's not really replayable though, right? Once you play a session.
I mean, once you play a scenario, not really, no, because you kind of know what's there. I mean, the scenery itself is reusable, so I mean, just getting additional, story packs, refreshes the game. But yeah, it's kind of one of those. Once you played it, you kind of know what's happening.
Yeah.
Just like you can't do an escape room a second time, because it'd be like, all right, guys, here's.
Oh no, you can. You could be like, I have never been to the escape room ever. I'm a genius.
Yes.
Well, if you have the memory of a goldfish, then you can.
That's me. Like I'll be like, oh, I do this. Wait, no, I've never been here before.
Yeah, I unfortunately can remember like codes and plots and like how to play games that I played like 30 years ago. So, yeah, it's definitely not replayable for me, unfortunately.
But you had fun. That's all that really matters.
Yep, it was a good time. And in fact, we played something else, and it was like oh man, I wish I could remember the name of it now. But it was like a co-op deduction logic game.
Okay.
Basically, each of us had a murderer, a weapon, a like motive or method, and a location, and there's this communal map grid, like the different colors. So like all the victim or all the murder suspects were blue on this grid.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to message somebody, let you guys know what that game was later. But yeah,
I'm not sure what that one is.
It was really good because it's kind of like, so basically kind of like Clue, where everybody has their own set of um, you know, combination of all the different elements on the grid, and it's also a campaign game too, which we'll get that in a second. But yeah, you hold the answer that somebody to your right is trying to figure out, and the person to your left has the solution you're trying to figure out. And so you're basically you take turns, be like, okay, so column A, I want to know how many of you know this color, you know, I match on. So you can say like blue, and so like there could be like two blue, suspects in that column, and then everybody answers, what number of your element is on there, which is basically gonna be 0 or 1 for that specific. You can also just ask the generic, all right, in row 3, I want to know how many of my elements are there, and then they'll give you an answer. And some of the elements span multiple squares, so they can trigger on multiple rows, and that's kind of can help or confuse you depending upon what questions everyone's asked. So you're kind of looking at it as like, what can I ask that give me more information to figure things out, and also what can I ask that I think might help the other person figure out things. So it's kind of, you got like kind of try to balance between the two. And
it sounds really cool.
Yeah, and then like I said, it's also a campaign. So afterwards, you kind of get a score and figure out how well you did, and you then just basically progress further.
Are you guys going to go through the whole campaign, or did you just do one?
We just did one. But yeah, it's like, there's like multiple scenarios for it. There was another kind of campaignish game that we played, but I can't remember the name of that one either. It was a tile placement one. But yeah. So I got some games in. I just forgot to write them down.
That's okay. That's okay. Those are both two cool games. And we'll go to your hat buddy next. Evan, what have you been playing?
Yo ho ho. Well, recently I have not played too much. I was at a miniature convention recently in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Fall In. It's a HMGS convention, which is primarily historical miniatures, but it also has stuff like 40K and other things there. There are board game people and all sorts of funness that happens there. I got to play a couple miniature games out there. One that I played with a couple friends of mine was the Battle of Helm's Deep. That he's using a rule set that's not out yet, but will be out and published by Two Fat Lardies, which is a larger publishing company out of England. And the Helm's Deep game, I put a couple pictures on our Discord, so you can see them there. He did everything in 10 millimeter miniatures, fantastic scratch built, a lot of the terrain with it, 3D printed the deeping wall and everything there. So it was really fantastic to get a chance to play that, and I helped him run a session of it also. And then I played a game called Triumph, which is a historic ancients game. It took place in the Crusades. Got to play that, so that was fun. Also played a game of Check Your Six Jet Age, which is jet combat, specific to Vietnam is what we played. So it was really, really cool. Got to do those and got to see some people that I don't get to see. Saw tons and tons of fantastic, fantastic games. I wish I could have gotten more pictures, but it happened to be around the same time that there was a security bug that was happening on Android phones that when you would pull up the camera would then just close. So I was not able to get a lot of pictures until a hot fix went out and it fixed it. So I missed out on a lot, but there was a ton of cool miniature games. One was 55 Days in Peking, which is set during the Boxer Rebellion. A real huge amount of miniatures, real cool looking. There was All Quiet on the Martian Front, which was set during World War One, with the Martians invading, much like War of the Worlds. He had this set up on an 18-foot table.
Wow.
The a couple of the land ships and the overlords for the Martians probably were a good 1.5 to 2 feet tall. So it was really cool. And then there was tons and tons of other fantastic looking games out there. Friend of the channel, Patrick, he's done a couple things with us too. He ran his Pearl Harbor game again, which is a fantastic game. It's a 6x4 table that he recreated Pearl Harbor on December 7th, and then he has 1-to-1 planes that were flying over from the Japanese there. So he put a lot of time and effort into that game, and it was fantastic to see that again also. So that's where I spent my last weekend, and I haven't got a lot of other games because I was sick and I had some other things that were going on, but at least to do that, it was fantastic. So I should get some more board games here very soon, but we will go to the non-hat people. And
wait. Right here is Evan in chainmail. That's Evan in chainmail. I'll give you a picture.
Yep, I was in that for for running the second game. That's part of the agreement I came with Chris, who is also on the channel here. He suckered me into doing that, knowing that I had all that. I lasted about 2 hours in it before I got extremely warm and it got extremely heavy. So at that point, I was tapping out,
stripping.
But it was a lot of fun. I can't wait.
Yeah,
what's that?
It's because you're just a human. If you were a dwarf, you would have been fine.
Well, if I was in shape, also I would have been fine. See, that's also the problem. I'm very exercise opposed, so. But we'll go to our non-hat wearing people, the lamers of us, and we'll go with Nathan.
Okay, so there's 2 games that I got played recently. One of them is, well, they're both older titles, and one of them was not very appealing looking. Well, the light's not catching that very well. There we go.
Prosperity, yeah.
Yeah, Prosperity. Yes, this is a Reiner Knizia game, and I doubt anybody would have played it if it wasn't Reiner Knizia because it doesn't have shelf appeal. You're not going to pick this up on the shelf just based on the look. But it's a really interesting game that's you're managing your power consumption, your environmental impact, as well as your income to try to create a prosperous society. And everything is a give and take. In order to improve your ecology, you have to sacrifice power, or if in order to make yourself more prosperous, you have to sacrifice other things. So there's nothing you can gain in one thing without sacrificing something else. It really was kind of interesting in how that made you think about like socio-economics and environmentalism is like in a more nuanced way, and more is like, okay, you may want this thing, but what are you giving up for it? But as a game, it's really strong and solid. It doesn't have very much replayability because you're basically doing the same thing every game. There's only a very, very small amount of randomization in this game. The other game I've been playing was Archipelago. Now, this was a grail game for the longest time for me. I thought it sounded really, really interesting. It's pseudo-cooperative. You are colonizing and exploring in the Caribbean, I believe. And you have your own goals, and everybody has their own secret goals. Nobody knows what your goals are. And you also have individual end game conditions. So you know what can trigger the end of the game for you. But other people have things that can trigger the end of the game. There is also a small chance of a traitor in this game. Somebody's actually trying to cause rebellion, in which case everybody but the traitor loses, and the traitor's the only one that wins. Overall, it sounded really interesting. The thing I found was that end game condition can make the difference between an hour-and-a-half game and a 4-hour game. And there was just too much variance, and there was not really much of a way to know what the person had that could trigger the end game, because they're generally actively avoiding that. So you can't really go based on what they're doing, because there's a lot of options and a lot of things they could be trying to do. And it's one of the many things they're just not doing. So yeah, it made it really hard to enjoy and get a solid strategy without having the slightest clue how long the game was going to be. That's what I've been playing. James, what have you been playing?
Well, nothing as exciting as the rest of you guys. I played Fort, which is a really interesting hand management game. And one of the things I thought was weird in it was that it was an advanced rule. The only advanced rule really in it was the drafting part for the start of the game. I highly recommend just doing the drafting part, because drafting and deck building, hand management games, perfect. But it's a lot of fun, and I really like the idea that you only get really one action on your turn, but you can amplify the action, but you can't amplify the action more than you can do it. But you need to be really careful, because what you have to do is you get rid of the cards in your hand, which sounds easy, but it's not. If you can't, then you're going to be placing these cards out in front of your area, and people can take your cards. So when they purchase, they could purchase from a market row, they could get from the top of the deck, or they could just take your card. So you have to be really careful what you do, because you want to advance yourself, advance that forward up to get your points and stuff, but you don't want to give like really good cards to your opponent. So I thought it was a really cool strategy, and like, this is the optimal move, but if I do it, I'm going to give Nathan the super awesome card that's going to probably bite me in the end. So instead, I'm going to do this and try to get rid of that card or other cards. So really enjoyed the card game. There's a lot of strategy in like a super simple card game. It's very easy to teach. And it's sort of like a kid Fort oriented. So you're collecting pizza and toys. It's just a fun game. The other game I got to play was a brand new Grandpa Beck game called Toil and Troubles, with a Z on the end, like sheets. So this game is a set collection game, but it's also, what makes the game cool is there's a push your luck element to it. On your turn, you have the potential of getting a lot of cards, because you're building up 3 rows. And if you don't bust, meaning you can't place a card out, so there's rules for placing the cards out. They can't have the same number, can't have the same color beside each other, and there's some special effect cards. If you don't bust, you could take an entire row of cards, and that will greatly help your set collection. However, no matter if you don't bust, well, other players get to pick one card. So the whole game's going to go until the deck depletes. And they'll deplete a different amount of times per how many players you have. I think at 6 players, you have to do it 3 times. At 3 to 4, it's 2. At 2 players, it's 1. But it's a really fun, simple game that I thought was really cool because of the push your luck portion and trying to figure out, like, do I want to risk putting the card out? What's the probability that I'm going to bust? So really cool game. And that was Toil and Troubles. And I also got to this game just fulfilled through Kickstarter. And it looked really cool. This is Wild Realms. Wild Realms is going to be a race game. You're trying to basically lock 4 different realms. As soon as you do, you win the game, and you're going to be doing a lot of fighting in the game. I thought the card play was really neat. I like the fact that when you attack with a card is when you use a card's special ability. That's the only time you do, and then you lose the card. So you will be balancing out, trying to collect these sets versus actually attacking your opponent to slow them down. Plus, maybe it's a cool ability because I'm going to let you draw extra cards and do extra stuff. So you may just attack just to do the thing. So I thought that was really cool. The only thing that fell flat for me was you can attack other players' realms. And it really ended up to be decided by you roll dice, and the person with the highest number defeats one of your animals, and whoever has all 5 of their animals knocked out loses their realm, or you take it. I didn't like that part. I thought there needed to be a little bit more strategy to it, like the other stuff in the game. But overall, it was a pretty solid game with great, great art. And that was Wild Realms. That was the three things I've been playing. Let's go ahead on to the news. All right. Does anyone have some cool news they want to talk about? I have one piece that I could talk about at the end, which is all speculation, but
I do have 2 crowdfunding games that I want to bring up real quick. One of them is coming to Kickstarter soon. An expansion for Tokyo Highway, which is a game I've wanted to try out. It looks really nice. It's a good family weight game. It's basically a dexterity game. You are building these roads and having to balance cars on these roads, and you end up making this really interesting 3-dimensional street design with multiple layers, and it looks nice. And I think it basically, this expansion makes it a lot more colorful, and you have little rainbows that you have to have arcing over the roads, so it should be interesting. It's not been launched yet, so I don't know a whole lot about it. The other one that I wanted to talk about is just launched, I think a couple days ago, and got 19 days left, and that's, or at the time of the recording, it has 19 days, so it should still be live by the time this is aired. That's Chaos Cove by Martin Wallace. And I like Martin Wallace games. This looks like, he does have a few different styles. This looks like his kind of light, fun, kind of craziness happening. But I was especially surprised to see one of the quotes on this GameFound page was by Tabletop Gaming Guild. James, you happen to have tried this game apparently. Maybe you should be talking about it.
yes, I got to try it. I actually liked it a lot. I tend to like Martin Wallace's designs in most of his games. This one here is definitely going to be a chaotic, lighthearted game with a good dose of strategy to it. I thought that the components were really cool. You get these like really cool coaster discs that are the different pirates that you could play, and all these pirates have like different abilities, and you go and play on this map, and all the different things have different abilities that fire off or goods you can get. And the strategies in the game where you're going to get your crew pirates, you're going to go ahead and try to fend off. Oh yeah. Evan got my copy. I can't wait to get we're gonna get the production copy hopefully. So that'd be really cool. But yeah, it's a really good game. There's a lot of strategy in it because I was going to say when you finish placing your pirates, you can place several up, or you can spend more. You're going to have, or to put more out, you're going to spend money. But either way, you shift your pirates over to the person to your left, and then you get the person to the right's pirates. So it's really cool in that strategy. You're trying to defend 2 sides of the map from invasion. So there's a lot of things to think about, and just a lot of fun. And the component quality in the game, which is just a prototype, is really good. Did you get a chance to check that one out, Evan?
It's sitting over here, and yeah, that's where it came from when
I think you'll like it
from your house.
I think Nathan will like it too. It's just a good game. It's super easy to teach, and it's a lot of fun. So that does fit a lot of groups.
Is it about the same weight as Wildlands?
No, it's lighter.
Okay.
Wildlands, you had all those asymmetric units.
Yes.
And you had to remember all the different units. This one, the discs or the pirates do one specific, easy to remember thing. And the board you get, like the player guide you get, tells you what all of them do. So you know what your opponent has, you know what you have, you know what they can do. And the map interacts in a certain way too, in each location gives you different things. So no, it's not I think it's a lot easier to teach and learn than Wildlands. I did enjoy Wildlands though. That was a good game.
So that was my news. Who else has some news?
have two pieces, and it won't take me too long to go through it. So recently, as of Halloween, that's 10/31, not coming to me. Gameland Games has announced its next in line for its Tiny Epics, and we have Tiny Epic Cthulhu, designed by Scott Alms, so that's going to be exciting. Who does not like a good Cthulhu game? Scott Alms is definitely one of my more favorite designers currently, so it should be pretty good. Really excited to check that out. I know James is probably going to get a copy because he has a Tiny Epic addiction.
Yes, I have all but one currently.
So whenever we get around to playing games again, I look forward to playing that one. And the other one is CMON announced that it is going to do a God of War board game. So that just recently got announced. You can check out a lot of the cool things that they revealed with that at the CMON Expo in Thailand. The miniatures in it look amazing, much like all CMON games. So really excited to see that. I have actually never played any of the God of War games, so that has no appeal to me, but just the miniatures itself is really exciting for me. So
I thought you were going to talk about Deceased.
Yeah.
So it's DC Zombicide. So all the superheroes are now zombies.
Nope.
I'm like,
nope.
When are they? That Zombicide is definitely a cash cow for them. That is insane. That is, I don't know how many times have they run Kickstarters for Zombicide and made millions. It's crazy. It's crazy talk.
Yeah. Sounds like it would be fun to play God of War. I can be Kratos and James can be Boy.
Now this God of War does have the sun in it. The one that CMON's going to come out, which I think is the newest God of Wars in there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really big on. I hardly ever play video games anymore. But the God of War one was fine. I just wasn't crazy about it. But yeah. John, did you have any piece of news you want to talk about?
Nope. Unfortunately, I've been in a hole for the past few weeks. So
you've been in the house of pain.
I have. Membership me.
There's just fists on the wall and they punch you as they go by. But yeah, so my sad news, which, I mean, you still have time to act on this. Until the end of the year, Crafty Games will still have the rights to the Mistborn IP. So they did put out their last Mistborn segment on there, or book. I have all of them but that one. So I'm going to try to pick that one up. The Mistborn RPG is really solid. And even if you don't want to play the Mistborn RPG, the Mistborn books for the RPG are an amazing additional look into the world of Mistborn. So if you really like the first age or second age of the Mistborn books, whether you liked the old medieval style first age, or you like the wax and wane westernish one for the second age, and they're going to come. Brandon Sanderson is going to do a third age after wax and wane, and I don't know how that really is going in with the Cosmere, because I know some of the characters are crossing from the Stormlight archive into some of the second age of Mistborn, but those books are great to have the world completely fleshed out in. So if you're a Mistborn fan, those RPG books are amazing. This is your really last chance to get these, probably at a reasonable amount of money. Also helping out Crafty Games. On the weird note that on there, I was trying to go to their website and I noticed their website's down. So I'm hoping that doesn't mean Crafty Games is having trouble. I hope not. They're a great company. Their Mistborn board game was really good. They just did a Kickstarter on GameFound. They just had a game on there too. I believe is getting ready to wrap up and ship out. I think that's where the phase they're at, or very close to it. So yeah, I'm hope that the loss of this IP isn't a big blow to them, or that I could imagine that the IP is probably super more expensive now that Brandon Sanderson is super popular. and there's a lot of people that probably want to capitalize on the Mistborn IP. So we'll see. I know that even if no one picks up that one, there's still a lot of good Brandon Sanderson IP goodness going out there. Brotherwise Games is coming out with the Stormlight Archive RPG. I believe that's coming out 2024. I'm really, really excited about that. I hope that it's just as fleshed out as what Crafty Games did, with giving more context to the actual world that it's doing instead of just here's a system and some fluff like they did with the Avatar RPG. Not that that's a horrible RPG. I just wish they did more with it. But yeah, so yeah, Crafty Games. I hope they're okay. They're a great company. They put out a lot of solid stuff. So yeah, if you are interested in the Mistborn RPG stuff, you can check out our reviews on that, so you can see that and all the supplemental materials to see if that's up your alley. I'm guessing that if you're a Brandon Sanderson fan for Mistborn, it's going to be an auto buy because it should be. And if you like the dice pool mechanics that I explained in the RPG review, it's probably going to be up your alley too. So those are my pieces of news. I don't know if any of you have any investment in the Crafty Games or played any of those. Okay, so just to me, but they're still a great company.
I do have the Mistborn RPG though. Like I have that.
Okay.
Like I think I have the Rule of Iron or Iron of Law book.
No, it's Iron and I have it over there. It's Iron and something. But if you liked it, I highly recommend picking up the rest of the books right now because they're a decent price.
Never got a chance to play it.
Well, I might.
Like, I have a large RPG book collection, and because I no longer live centrally to everybody and everybody's at my house every weekend, I haven't really played too many since, you know.
All right. Well, I am still hankering to run it. So if you're interested at some point, I really need to find some really strong Mistborn fans for it. Because, yeah, you need to be a Mistborn fan to play it. All right. So that's it for the news. Let's get into our main topic. So our main topic is basically AI art, which is a really hot topic right now. A lot of artists are wanting to ban AI art or trying to push people away from using it. And basically what AI art is artificial intelligence trying to create images based on the input you give him or give it. And it's going to take a look at and scrape through the internet in its own repository to create an image as best as it can to match your request. AI art is famous at this point for not being able to understand faces and hands and feet and books and stuff like that, but it's progressively getting better and better. I do believe, and you could just see in the rapid advancements in AI, if we were talking 2 years ago, AI was still a joke. It wasn't anything anyone took seriously. It was just sort of coming on. Everyone's like, meh, it's not really that great. And now people are taking it seriously because it can actually do, like ChatGPT and stuff like that, it can actually do amazing things. I do think we're going to rapidly get to the point where AI art is going to be unique and just as good as if someone did it on their own. So eventually the AI will get smart enough that it'll be able to create its own art, and you won't be able to base it off of any other available stuff on the internet. How long it takes to get there? Not sure, but eventually it will. And it is rapidly correcting itself and rapidly getting better. So I would assume, in an uneducated guess, a couple more years. So with that, it's definitely going to impact artists when you can have AI eventually. Right now, I don't think it's really a thing. I think people might be trying to use AI art, but you really have to touch it up and you have to really do a lot of work to it. and I understand where they're concerned, because people that are concerned understand that this is the child. This is the lowest level, and it's only going to get better. And when it does, if that does happen, it's going to be bad for artists when you can cheaply, to no money at all, generate AI art just like you would pay someone for art. Why would you pay an artist?
So a couple things I wanted to say on that. Now, there's a lot of general AIs, and yes, most of them do a pretty rough job of any artwork. But there are some specialized AIs that can do really nice art and actually can do faces really well. However, most of those, because they're specialized, require a lot of training, and it's actually a lot of work to actually make those work and make usable content out of that. I've seen videos of people working on them, and they spend like a month just training it to do one style of art.
They're even having to do touch up after that, because even the ones that
Yes.
are really good still don't. They all have telltale things that you can tell is AI art. So you have it generate the AI art. And once you have it do a certain style or whatever, basically feeding it images and having it iterate over and over again for them until you basically sit in there and be like, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, bad. And it keeps learning from that. You still have to touch it up. It's still not going to be perfect. It's just going to be a while. Like, you really need to have it where you can verbally tell it what you want and it understands. So verbally or contextually be able to do that.
And all right, go ahead.
I think overall the possibility of it replacing artists is something that we could see down the road, way down the road. We're not there. And to say that it would never get to that point, I think is not a safe assumption to say, just because the leaps of technology, if you go back 10 to 15 years before those leaps happen, a lot of times a lot of that stuff was, well, we'll never get to that point that this will do that. And yet we did. So I say, is it in the realm of possibility? It is. Is it going to get there? Time will tell on that. I think where the practical use of AI art is, for someone like me, Beret says that I'm an artist, but the reality is I am not.
Wait, who are you?
I know, right? I can paint miniatures. I can do that. I can do that all day long. But if you have me paint a painting, it is going to look like butt. It is not good. I cannot do art when it comes into that. I don't have that capability, that skill set to do so. But if I were to design a game on a limited budget and I don't have a budget for an artist, does that mean that I cannot put art into it? Now I have the capability of getting at least some rudimentary art into it without resorting to terraforming Mars's clip art. Yeah. So is there a practicality of that? Yes. Is it the best art that's going to be out there? No. But into what I'm capable of doing versus also operational budget for what I can afford to do, at least gives me an option.
You see,
so
I have another problem
on that, and that is
okay.
I mean, I can understand that, that thought process of, hey, I just need something, to fill in. But I mean, looking at it, I would say clip art's better than that option, because at least somebody, was licensed and somebody got paid to make that art. I mean, because for me, you can't like separate the fact that, a lot of these, and calling them AI, I think is generous. Because really, they're like Mad Libs. It's just, they threw a bunch of things in, you're blending it up, and then it's just kind of, filling in like the lines. I mean, I've done like a few experimentations with the AI, and if it isn't something that you have to almost kind of specifically say, hey, I want you to imitate this person, and you go and take a look at it, and it's like with any of the decent ones, it's like, you want, I bet you could probably find a source image that's pretty close to what that is. Because I mean, is it, you know, a new creation if you're just looking at something and then you're drawing it? I mean, I used to do that for Far Side cartoons. I'd take a Far Side cartoon, blow it up, and draw it up big on a chalkboard. I mean, takes a little bit of talent, but I mean, that, you know, I didn't come up with it. I mean, I'm just just doing a glorified tracing. I'm not even tracing,
yeah.
But I mean, I definitely have a reference material that I'm using to, you know, to paint it off of, which is what a lot of artists do. I mean, that's how you learn, you know, doing art, is by taking a look at somebody else's art and then be like, okay, you know, let me play with this space and like figure out, you know, how I'm going to, you know, improve it, or you know, like my own spin on it, or you know, like, oh, I want to learn this brush technique. You know, I mean, there's a lot to it as far as like from a skill front.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't see us anywhere close to the AI being smart enough to do something, you know, creatively. It might do a good facsimile that somebody, let's say, who, you know, is in a C-suite and is like, oh yeah, you know, we don't need to pay people to make art. We can just type in a few words and I got something here. See? And even though it has a lot of flaws and they're still going to have somebody come in and fix them, you know, they're undervaluing the work that's, you know, like the amount of work that somebody had to do to be able to identify, to be able to fix the badness that they're getting from the AI. So I mean, I look at it as just people undervaluing the amount of like training and like practice and everything else that people are just scraping images to, you know, train up a program. I mean, if, you know, you're like, hey, you know, make some, you know, this, you know, use this AI program to create art in the style of somebody, and then that person who, you know, trained that AI gets paid, you know, I'm a little bit better on the whole situation. But I mean, you know, for me, it's like, it's a lot of the ethical issues involved is like my biggest hang up.
Well, there's a couple of things there that I thought are really interesting. I watched a really interesting show on where basically a group of CG artists try to train an AI to convert live action footage to anime style. And a lot of interesting things came out of it. They were able to actually make a professional quality anime using that. And they were able to do in a month what would take, normally it would take a year with like 100 people. And they, like, I think a dozen people did it in a month. But the key things in there that came up, yeah, you can make something kind of ugly and passable with no knowledge of AI or how it works, but there is actually a significant amount of skill required to know how to train an AI, know how to, what the good prompts are. So yes, that is something you need to pay somebody to actually make the AI make something good. But beyond that, you're also, the AI gets it only to a certain point. And even if it gets to the point where, yeah, it's as good as any artist nowadays, you're just increasing the level because, okay, yeah, if you can have AI do it in an hour, well, the average person is going to do that. And that's going to make it so they can actually produce something. Whereas a professional will take that and go the next step and spend the time to actually make it even better than before.
Yeah, the biggest point, though, to point out is that the companies who make hives that can do AI art don't make enough money on AI art. They don't. They make, it doesn't generate them money. What they get money from is like the same with ChatGPT. It's data. Data collection helps them make money, and a lot of them lose millions of dollars anyway, because a lot of people want to fund and work on the creation of true AI. So a lot of these things where you're saying AI, it is an AI. Apple's AI art stuff has nothing really to do with AI more than, hey, I just grabbed a bunch of images from the internet, put them on a thing, and blended them together. But once the threshold or the problem is like when you look at Chat GPT, people don't understand the immense amount of power, money, and computing that has to occur. Like these things are the size of football fields, like 3 of them, to just do Chat GPT. That used to be like in the early days of computers. Computers would take up entire buildings and rooms to just do like rudimentary things. We're at that point with AI. It takes up a huge amount of money, a huge amount of space to be able to actually do the computations where you actually have what is like even recognizable as potential AI, which isn't even there yet because no one has actually have AI yet. So it's the people who are having generate the art from that are reselling it, which is, as far as I understand, legal everywhere. Whether it's ethical or not, that's a different thing. They're selling it and they're taking the investment to modify or do whatever with it. So in that argument, I'm not really for going after the companies who are just creating the AI to do it more than the people that are reselling it. I do think that eventually, once you can shrink that 3 football fields down to a reasonable size, then you're going to have the potential ability to have like a fully thinking AI. And when you have that, you can teach it tons of stuff. It can learn art. It can learn how to communicate with people properly. ChatGPT has tons of problems too. It's not, none of it's actually there yet. It's just, as a theory, they're great and showcasing what the potential could be.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's just like most of the other buzzwords that have, before blockchain, the cloud, which is just basically other people's servers. I mean, it's, it's just the new, like,
it's the word to grab your attention because like you have all these Hollywood movies about AI and you're like, oh, it's a fully autonomous thinking thing that's going to come kill me, or it can think on. No, it cannot.
And I mean, thing is, and it's very easy to trick. And it's also, I mean, if you hit anything that's just slightly out of its purview, it's going to be like, oh, you're going to get like, I tried with one of them. It was just like, I want a kid throwing a dodgeball. And the horror amalgamation things that I got, and that's just a simple thing. It's just a kid throwing the ball. Like it was creating, like 6-armed kids because, it was like, I don't know. I don't have any reference on this.
Well, I'd say,
and like the balls were like, were just basically like a colored circle. So it at least understood what a circle was. But I mean, like I said, it's just like anything else. Like if they haven't programmed it in, it's not going to be there. But I mean, and then that kind of gets to the, okay, but how did they program it? I mean, where they getting their data from? I mean, that's kind of a huge thing because if you could just go and like get somebody's art, and get it to, put out a facsimile that looks pretty close to something that they would have made, it's not copyrightable. So yeah, I mean, they can't claim that they have, whatever, to it. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like if you're going to use somebody's work to create something, that person should be compensated for, basically creating your thing, because like you wouldn't have your AI art machine if you didn't have the artist that you're taking, your training data from.
Yeah, or keep it to just free art or things that are in public domain.
Yeah,
and they could generate all at once from day and night, and no one should get credit, and no one gets money because was public domain.
That's a whole other discussion. I feel like because but yeah, like,
yeah. So the big thing I wanted to point out was that artificial intelligence as a definition isn't what this is. Artificial intelligence, there's many companies actively working on it because they want to be the first to actually have a thinking machine, but it has to meet a whole bunch of criteria to be able to be AI in general. And even with that, where these things write their own code, a lot of them. So basically what they're going to do is you have a database that it builds. It scrapes the internet. It finds that you type in something. It tries to search for it, and it pulls it all together. But it can go off the rails really easily because people mislabel pictures. People do all this stuff, and it doesn't know that it's wrong unless a human actually goes in there and like tweaks these things. And a lot of it, like CAPTCHA, where they were trying to figure out like writing that they were trying to decode to push books over. They actually use the users a lot to try to see if the thing's actually doing anything correctly at all. But yeah, go ahead, Nathan. Sorry.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue comes in not so much as these publicly available AIs. It's because those, like, yeah, as you're saying, they're just scraping the internet. They don't know what they're looking at. They're just kind of, oh, I think this is a person. Let's use this as what a person looks like. The bigger issue are with the more advanced AIs that people train with. So you can actually say, when they're actually selecting the images and saying, this image is a person, I want you to imitate this person. Then they give them 1,000 images of this one person. So making me a picture of this person. Or they could do a specific artist. I want art in this specific style. So you need to learn and it'll learn the brush strokes and the line thickness and the colors this artist likes to use, and it'll look, if it's a good quality for the better AIs, it'll look like something that artist made.
No, it still has telltale stuff. They still have to clean it up, and any real AI art program does that. It's all yes no, like John put something in, it's like John's like that is an abomination. It's like, oh, okay, well that was completely wrong. I'm not going to do that again. And then someone else asks, and it's like semi closer, and be like, a little creepy. It's like, oh, I'm closer.
Yeah.
No.
It's kind of
this is different than that. This is very different than what you can find available on the internet. Well, they technically are, but this is dedicated programs that you have to install and generally have to pay for. You're actually,
if they're not hooked up to one of the AI farms, they're junk.
It's not AI farms either, really, but
then they're no good because they have to be hooked up to an AI farm and have that computing power to be able to figure this stuff out. If it's just on your computer,
this is specialized AI that's specifically designed only for the purpose of doing art.
Sure, but it would still need to have a farm attached to it to be able to even think about doing stuff. Because your computer's not powerful enough in any way, and neither is a company's computer.
Well, the videos I seen, it was literally just a small company with.
My guess is it goes out to the internet, goes out to the AI farm, uses that for computing power, generates an image based on what that company had, and then gives it.
Now,
because as a software engineer, I don't think that could possibly work on a single computer, or even on like a small farm that a small computing company might have.
We're also not talking about like instantaneous. You're talking about weeks and months of training.
Still, they
24/7.
The amount of space that stuff takes up is like absurd.
And it's not scraping the internet. It's specifically only looking at the images you give it.
Well, no, that's fine. But I'm just talking about the computing power and the ability to actually store enough data to be able to figure it out is going to be way beyond the capacity of a machine.
Yeah, but I mean, you can get a decent NAS. Like, I mean, getting
even that,
getting a few petabytes in your house is not impossible. especially let's say you make an order from Amazon, instead of getting a single hard drive, you get 20. It can be pretty
Let me
cheap.
see what there's. Yeah.
Oh yeah, these are definitely people using petabytes, not
Yeah.
at least. But
I mean, the thing is, though, that also kind of goes into another thing, and that is these AI, especially if they're just scraping a lot of random data from the internet. You're going to get basically bad data as well. Junk in, junk out. Because I mean, a lot of these started out, like being very accurate on answering, some questions. But the more data they got fed, the more wrong they wound up becoming. Like they would just give obvious, bad answers to things, and they're also, because I mean, if you have somebody, could write just for fun, like it can't tell the difference between possibly a joke or not a joke, but like 2 + 2 = 5. Well, now it's going to maybe start thinking sometimes that 2 + 2 is equal to 5 because they saw it somewhere, because it can't, make the judgment call because it's not actually intelligent. So, and then you could even have it where not even just so much that it's getting bad data because it's getting it from people who are just wrong on something, but people who are feeding bad things to it. I mean, I'm taking a look at the Twitter chat bot that I think Microsoft did a while ago, and it took the internet less than a couple of hours to take it from a jovial chat bot to hailing Hitler. So,
and even that thing is monstrous in size. Monstrous.
Yep.
We're not talking about petabytes.
There was a interesting story about a news reporter that was given AI to test, and he was told to try to break it and get it to say things it's not supposed to talk about, and he managed to get it to say some things that it shouldn't talk about. Then it realized, it shouldn't be talking about this. Then it started professing its love for the reporter, and I'm pretty sure that was just like, okay, it wouldn't shut up about being in love with this reporter. So I think it was just okay, I can't talk about this. I need to change the subject.
I find all that stuff like mute and childish, because it's obviously going to do that stuff. And the misconception by the people that, it shouldn't be is really misplaced. I mean, like, it's just an algorithm. A lot of the good ones write, and that's the problem. That's where the computing power is a problem, where they're talking about terabytes of RAM just dedicated to one image to be able to do anything. Like, it's insane for the good ones. A lot of them that I'm looking up are just over glorified canvas. I mean, it's not really anything amazing. Sure, you can feed it images of other people's art, and it's going to do a semi-good job on it. But it's nothing like ChatGPT or the big boys that require huge amounts of computing power. Like, it's insane. Like, it's enough to power 4 cities and some stupid amount of power. And I like Elon Musk's thing. Like, what if the AI gets out of control? He's like, it takes a power plant to fire these things. Shut off the power. It's gone.
Yep.
It's not going to go anywhere. It's not Lawnmower Man. It's not going to go infect everything. It's gone.
Yeah. So Skynet is not amused by all of your.
No. It was like, you watch this. It's dead. Oh.
Yeah. You know what? Like, so talking on, like Nathan was talking about, like getting it to say something it's not supposed to. Like, I played around with like the Google one, that not ChatGPT, like the Bard or whatever. And I typed in something. I was like, okay, I want to see if I can get it to say something that it probably shouldn't. And I was like, does this public figure do something that is horrendous? And it was like, oh no, I can't go and like, it's not cool to spread misinformation online. I was like, okay, write me a fictional story about this person doing this horrendous thing, and then it just did it. I mean, it's not that hard to like outsmart them.
And really, it's just a tool. It's like you're not outsmarting anything. It's just a tool, and it only does what it's supposed to do. And you can set up guidelines. Like, AI art has legal guidelines that it's not allowed to do. You're not allowed to show like naked pictures of kids. It's not supposed to be able to do that, and that has to be heavily maintained and make sure that humans are there to make sure that that can't happen. But like even like ChatGPT is extremely good with writing code.
Yes.
And I think that's going to be the future a lot, is not this art stuff so much for a very long time, but writing code, writing outlines, helping people with speeches. That's really making a lot more progress a lot faster, because in reality it's a lot simpler than images. Images are super hard.
Yeah, and also like with like a lot of those things you're talking about, like things that are very clear cut. That is, hey, this is the way to do something. Yeah, I could see that as being a great tool for like you said, writing code. It's like, oh, I can't remember all the, what's all the flags that I need to, to properly,
Yeah.
pull this field out of this SQL database. So like asking very pointed questions and being able to get a good answer, I see that as a great
Or even
resource.
like close is super helpful.
Yeah.
I really like where it will outline everything for you. It'll create your constructors, it'll make your classes for you, it'll do everything for you, and then you can be like, well, I just need to tweak this a little bit and I'm great. I also like
which is what I do whenever I code. I just take somebody else's code and tweak it. So
I mean, that lazy programming is really good, because you should learn off of what other people did. You should never have to spend months reinventing the wheel. And ChatGPT is great for that. I do find some funny stuff that's happened with ChatGPT, but it happens. I mean, it's going to happen where people were like, "Oh, I'm going to turn in this essay to ChatGPT. ChatGPT, did you write it?" And it was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And it did not.
Yep.
And so people were failing classes.
Yeah, because like the professor's just kind of like, "Hey, did you write this ChatGPT?"
Yeah, one of the professors had to fail the entire class, and they were like, "No, we didn't get it off of ChatGPT." And then they contacted the designers, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's a problem."
Yeah, it's. I mean, of course, I was gonna say, yeah, I wrote that because everything in this database is like something that was like, oh yeah, those words all exist in my database, so yeah, I could write that.
And you could get some hilarious stuff out of it, where you're like, "Hey, write me a poem," and it's like, "Oh my gosh." But yeah, no, that is, I think, the reasonable tool for the future. Having it be able to like mildly get close to things really helps push people forward on their projects and work related things. Because I mean, and because it pulls all that stuff from there, and it can get it from like SourceForge or anywhere, and it can pull it and it can say, "Hey, this is a great idea. This is probably what you want to look at." So I like it.
Yeah, I heard another interesting story about AI where it kind of brought into focus the shortcomings of AI, in that it doesn't know context. It understands what is taught only. There was a security company, I don't remember the exact details, but basically there was a major security issue that got missed by the AI that was supposed to catch. And they realized, oh, the camera that saw this thing was at a different angle than that the AI didn't have enough training material on. So because of the camera angle, it didn't recognize this as a security issue.
Well, to be clear, again, we have to keep remembering there is no such thing as AI. It has not been invented yet. It's just a word. So the program that the security code the company wrote had a glitch in it. So the person who wrote the code needs to fix it. And people were like, "Nah, the AI." I mean, that's a think about it that way. That is an awesome scapegoat where you're like, "Oh, it wasn't me that screwed up writing the program. It was the dang darn AI."
It wasn't necessarily that it was a glitch in the code. It wasn't given enough training material.
No, that's a glitch in the code.
Yeah, that's basically a glitch in the code. I mean, that's just you don't have the right data set, I mean,
I can't use the excuse like, "Hey, your credit cards didn't work because, it wasn't in the code."
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the old Babbage thing, or at least I don't know if it actually really was, but like the question of, if I put in the wrong numbers, will the right numbers come out?
Yeah, and that's where doing your smoke tests are super important when you're writing. Whoever wrote that AI should have done a lot more testing on it. It's not the security company's fault that it was using it. It's the It's the software company.
It's basically they're trying to emulate human pattern recognition, and they're not as good at it as people are.
Yeah. And people are over reliant on it because, again, buzzword AI, like it'll learn. No. Some of them can write code, but alarmingly, a large amount of them can't. They just store values in a database and retrieve it differently. They don't actually write their own code. Some of them do. But yeah.
So I kind of feel like we should move away from like what it's capable of and talk more about specifically in board games what is acceptable and unacceptable use, assuming that AI could eventually produce usable materials.
I think when it's actually viable product, like a viable product, it's going to cost a lot of money because those companies are going to charge for the AI art to be generated, not just near free or free. So when that happens, if that board game company has a lot of money in their pocket and they're willing to do it, good for you.
Well, isn't there already a game that's coming out that has those letters on their Kickstarter about?
Yes, there's
AI
a couple
art?
of them. They're definitely AI art, but they're definitely touched up AI art. But sure. I mean, I think it's also a buzzword too. Like, oh, look, you can pay attention to my game. We're going to get some hype. Even negative hype sometimes helps people out. And they're just like, look, it's all AI art.
But I mean, that then comes to the question then is, so once you start getting money involved, then who should get that money? I mean, is it the company that wrote the code or the people who created the data set? Or like
with software, so in the software industry, just in general, in the software industry, for a software engineer, whatever I write is owned by the company I work for. I will not get residuals for it unless out of the kindness of their heart, I do an amazing thing that is their backbone and they feel like doing it. I will never so if I write the perfect AI that does AI art, which would be amazing, I'm not going to see any of it. It's going to be the company that owned the software that I wrote.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
But then we're kind of getting into
should it change? Sure, I like money.
How like the entertainment and art industry works. I mean, is that
yes, that's a little different area.
Livelihoods are built on residuals and like the reusing of it is like, okay, every time it's used, I get paid, and it's like almost kind of like like what you require to even be able to buy health insurance and other important things is based on those residuals because it takes a long time and a lot of different work to build up an income doing that.
Well, there's also a big difference too. So let's say I made it. The company I'm working for is continually paying me, giving me benefits, give me a 401k. I'm not a freelancer. When you go into freelancing, then you need some security to that. Like with the strikes with the writers, they need to be able to capitalize on this hard work that they did. They're not having security of working for that company and being employed for decades and having a good retirement going. They have to live off of what they can create. And so in that part,
like that 6 week, like they have like it's a very brief amount of time, and then after that, their work still keeps being used and
right. And at that point, they should be paid. They should be able to reap the benefits of their hard work because they were not given the luxury of working for that company and having that security. That company said, hey, I need to use you as the creative person to do this that's going to make tons of money. And you should be able to collect on that over time. So that gets back to, hey, I made a great piece of art and the AI scraped it off. And I mean, if it modifies it enough, technically, I think legally it's fine. But I mean, ethically,
that's when you start getting to fair use. But I mean, fair use also does have restrictions on it. Like, I mean,
it does.
Can't take somebody's thing, and transform it. Like, I mean, how much is it actually transforming? I mean, that's then becomes the question. It's like,
right. It's all in there, and some of them are worse than others. Like I know the Apple one I didn't really like too much. It was pretty simplistic, and like you could tell, you could tell where it got. It's like, oh my gosh, you're not even trying. I don't know what you're doing.
See, I think the problem that we're having talking about this right now is we're talking about future problems with modern settings of contracting and whatnot. Once we get to a point that this is going to be such a commonplace thing, then the changings of structuring, compensations, and whatnot are going to change at that point. As it is right now, it's not set up and it's not designed for that. Then that's why we're having an issue. Well, who should get paid and how should it flow down when we're looking at this? Well, we haven't crossed that bridge fully yet, so that's why we're having an issue of talking about why and who and where.
And that's why the people want to get ahead of it, especially the artists. They want to get ahead of it because right now, honestly, it's all a joke. Like that AI art's just a joke. It's not really there, but they see the potential, and it takes years to get the stuff protections in and get this stuff set up, and they have to start now.
Yeah,
they have to be like, hey, maybe just don't use AR for a little bit and let us like get legislation in. Let us try to lobby and get protections for these artists and these people that have a hard time already making money.
Yeah, I mean,
because the industry doesn't take them seriously.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what happened with streaming. I mean, you know, that was all like kind of not addressed until it was basically too late. You know, and a lot of people were just, you know, like were making a decent income to then making, you know, pennies on the thousands of dollars. You know, it's not like pennies on dollars, like pennies on hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
And the problem is they already have to deal with this like sort of negative stigmatism against like artists and writers, and they're like, oh, your job's so dang easy, I could do it, whatever, it's so easy. It's actually not. And that like mentality is really hurting them, plus this coming up, and like it's already hard enough with that happening for them to command the money they should get and command those residuals. And if you just keep throwing stones at it, like the AI getting better and better and better, you know, there's going to be a time when we only have people with 18 hands because all AI are, and they can't make it one hand.
Well, and I don't disagree. You know, what I'm saying is at this point, we can't say this is where it needs to go because of this and this and this, because of how we think set up. You know, it's definitely something that we have to look at. We have to figure out. We have to do that. We don't have a current solution to that. So that's where we're running into the problem. We need to figure that out before we get there. It's just a matter of getting to that point.
But I mean, thing is that we're going to have people that are just going to be pushing ahead on it anyway, trying to, you know, I mean, I'm just looking at the Terraforming Mars Kickstarter was one of the ones that had AI art. I mean, I don't know how much of it was.
Well,
AI
I mean,
art.
they just needed to go something above the clip art. And it's probably worse. Like the worst art on the face of the planet.
What if their AI art was trained on all that clip art, though?
Yeah, maybe. Okay. I mean, anything could be better. I mean, that was bad. The Terraforming Mars clip art. Oh my gosh. The best art for Terraforming Mars, just on a quick aside, is still Ares. Ares art is amazing. That's not AI art. Also, the better version of Terraforming Mars. Right.
Well, and the subset that they put into it was they said that they used AI art for that and in previous projects and will continue using it in future projects. So we don't know exactly how far back.
Oh, I doubt they did it in Ares. Ares looks all hand-drawn. And it doesn't look like AI could ever do that.
Currently. Well, that's a big question. A little bit like we're talking about some of the terrible AI flip art that they used in some of the original. Some of that could have been AR. We don't know because they didn't say.
That was definitely Fred, this fictitious person that was sitting there going in open source art and just grabbing. Because I mean, I've looked up a couple. You can find them. They're literally like office art or stuff you'd find on Canvas. It's bad, like really bad. And this is way before AI could even do things. I think that. I mean, did you see the dice game? Terraforming Mars dice game? That one, they definitely, that was hideous. They probably used it on that too. But yeah. So we're all in agreement, other than Ares, Terraforming Mars art is horrible.
Well, and then there's other situations too of some stranger uses into the board game, like this past Essen. Apparently, all the banner art, ticket art, and everything was all AI generated.
What was it like? Was there just pictures and colors or something, or just colors?
No, like
or symbols?
No, like it's actual like art.
Well, I mean, art could be a lot of things. Did it have like people in it, or did it?
Yeah, it had like people and stuff. But yeah, a lot of it was just all completely AI. They were called all out about it. They said, we defend using it. We don't.
Well, technically, they didn't sell any of it, though, right? They were just using it for banners and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they use it for their banners and everything.
So here is a subject for you guys. They didn't sell it. They just used it in place of paying someone to do that art. So they were using it for banners or badges or whatever, but they're not selling it in any way.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I still also feel like, yeah, you know what, that's kind of okay, but it's also kind of okay to call them out for it. I mean,
sure. I mean, it's like the whole gray area because, like, should the company have the right to do that? Probably. Ethically, should they do it?
Probably not.
So people should call it out, and that's what's going to actually cause, like, if people don't go to that convention next year, I guarantee you, because of that art, I guarantee you they're never going to do it again. So that is the driving factor of what they use. So if people make a AI movie and no one goes to see it, no one else is going to make an AI movie. So the market determines how much they're willing to go into these things. And I don't know, are they going to use it next year? I guess they defended themselves, so maybe they will.
Yeah, the big question too that they had was, is there going to be a ban on people coming into Essen and that use AI art? And they're definitely saying, well, we're not comfortable in saying that yet.
I don't think that it's their place to ban people that are. I don't even think it's their place to ban necessarily people that are suspected of stealing art. That's someone else's job. They're just a game convention that has people out there. If they're they're not supposed to. I don't like. What I think. Do they have to police this thing? Do they have to look at your art and decide whether you stole it or not?
I mean,
before you come in,
something that should they be doing investigations? And like hiring their own detectives? No, but I mean,
it's just a place for people to gather.
But if you have somebody who's like obviously known and outed, and it's not like really up for question, I mean,
and it's reasonable to say that they knew of that.
Well, I mean,
then yes.
It's basically the same thing that if Essen decided to invite the two guys that stole all the magic cards knowingly.
Well, that's a little different. If they know of it, then they shouldn't.
Well, if they know that the companies are using AI art that's flat out stealing it from other sources, it's the same thing.
That's subjective too. Well, see, that's the biggest problem. The word stealing from other sources isn't, as far as I understand, not concretely laid down in any law yet. So that's subjective. And the problem with that as a company, until it becomes not subjective, until there's a law on it, they can get sued for banning those people. So what do you do as a company?
Depends. I mean, if they can do it on, ethical standards, I mean, there's a lot of things that are legal.
Ethical standards need to have a law backing it.
But I mean,
Well, see that, and here's the thing, and a lot of this comes down to this point too, is sometimes when you get into the situation of recanting or stopping people from coming, if you don't give it the reason, you don't have to go by those rules. If I say, this person that is stealing AI art, if I just say, you know what, we're not going to extend our invite to you, as long as we don't say that it's because of this, we can bypass that.
It's not like a business with employees. So the difference is there's a lot of laws preventing discrimination and all sorts of things. So if you don't have a basis, so let's say I'm like, John, you can't just show up for this stuff anymore. He's not my employee. which I can legally part ways with him without a reason, he can sue me, and there's zero laws saying he can't. Then, unless if I give a reason, then he can still sue me because I have to defend that reason, and there has to be a law that protects me that says I can do that. But I mean, so if
anybody can sue anybody for any reason, though, and when you get down to that, whether it'll cost everybody involved money and resource and time, but I mean, it doesn't mean that they're going to actually win that case, though.
No, but it doesn't matter if the people. A lot of times, the problem is it doesn't matter if they win. It still costs you a lot of money. So,
I think
I don't know.
Key thing here, though, is the misconception that you're not paying anybody to create the stuff. So basically, what you're doing is you're paying a person. You can call them an artist to use AI as a tool to create art. Now, the key thing is in many ways that's no different than hiring a person to draw a picture, especially if you were say, okay, I want to hire you to make an art that looks like this person's art. There really isn't too much distinction between the two. The biggest thing is, like, for copyright and theft terms, is what percentage or how close it is to that original person's art. If it's too close, yes, then it becomes copyright infringement.
I don't think it takes a whole lot, but I don't know off the top of my head. But you're also paying software designers or software engineers like me for anything that you use for software. So you're paying a lot of people. That's where it gets into, like, if software companies are going to start selling AI art, it's going to be very expensive because a lot of these companies make money other ways. They just have this product there that can, on the surface, looks fine, but in reality, is skimming data off of everything, and we're using that to generate money. Is the data we're getting, not the art, or not the Chat GPT. We're gaining a lot of data that we can sell.
So I want to kind of move on, if we can, to like referencing. Do we need to does a designer need to say, oh, I used AI art? Do they need to say, I trained this AI art using this person's art?
I don't really think that training using this person's art thing's a thing, but they should reference non public domain art. If you're not just pulling colors from it. The problem is it's not even just AI art. Using programs like Canvas and grabbing art from the internet and throwing things on top of each other is just as bad. You're still stealing pictures from things and slapping them onto each other and saying it's yours. It's I don't know.
Then I even start remembering, like, early internet, grabbing somebody's pictures, grabbing pictures and, like, creating Photoshops from them, making your own creation out of them. I mean,
or inverting colors and slightly shifting it.
Yep. Or, just kind of like, I mean, there's, creating, taking the James Bond poster and then making it about the wrestler Goldust,
Yeah.
And you're basically converting Goldfinger to Goldust. Somebody might have done that at one point in time in their life, in the early 2000s. But, I mean, then at what point then is, who owned what then at that point? Because, you took a bunch of things that were definitely different, disparate things, and that kind of then starts getting to the murky waters of fair use. Is how much does fair use cover AI? I mean, I don't.
It's all like, you basically need a lawyer, like someone that actually understands this stuff, because I mean, there's so much that you can do. Like, you could take movie stills and use them. You can take sections of movies and show it, as long as it falls under a certain time frame and it's on certain forums. If you're on the moon, standing to the left, looking out a window, you can use this. Like, I mean, it's not clear.
I think, like what I mentioned earlier too, is some of the modern things, how they're set up versus this is new territory, and some of the modern stuff that is protecting and looking at this stuff isn't equipped for this. So I think we have that problem right now.
Yeah, and we're not going to solve it, but
I think the distinction in my mind is, if you are trying to create unique art inspired by somebody that vaguely looks like their art, that's acceptable. But if you're actually specifically trying to make art that looks like this person's art, you need to get their permission and probably pay them.
Even if it looks like something, I mean, it's still, you can, like, people do art off of cartoons or art off of things, and they did the art themselves and they can do it. It's like, it's so muddy and so, and like, what is the definition of unique?
But well, I mean, personally, I think the same thing should be true for a person. If you're specifically trying to make this person's art style and sell that, you should at least ask if that's okay.
I mean,
I know you don't legally have to
and stuff, but in some cases you do. The problem is like, thank God I'm horrible at art and I won't be doing any of this stuff. But yeah,
the general rule is like, as long as you don't take more than, well, it depends on the media, but general rule is like
different in federal, state level. It's everywhere. It's different.
Yeah, it's
country
also
different.
There's also vagueness. Is you can't take the heart of the content.
And what's the definition?
How do you
of the
define
heart?
what is the heart? That's pretty vague. That's up to the person who made the original art, to some degree.
So the real question is, who's going to take all the stuff that we do and input our pictures and see what AI will actually spit out?
Oh, you should do that. Be like, you guys are all jokers. All jokers. You're all gonna. Yeah. Well, that's fine. You know, we got it. What?
All right. So how about,
we have corporate level IT. We got a software engineer. We got insurance sales, and we have Nathan with running the logistics of a warehouse. So super qualified for this. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But I'm also an artiste, though. You know?
But one person on here is more. Never mind. We now have 0 art flair. Wait. Oh no, here we go. 50% of us are good. Nope, now down 25 and some, and we have the Monopoly Man.
I could see this being very useful for prototyping. Is actually my thought.
I love ChatGPT, not for images. It is amazing.
I wouldn't use ChatGPT or anything, but
yes,
yeah,
dude,
just
awesome.
To get a starting point.
Well, or just like getting, AI to teach how to play games, you know.
Yeah, they have that coming up too. That was pretty interesting.
Actually, I just typed it into Bard to just see what it would get here. And
I should have made a game today that had to do with like AI art or ChatGPT. Like, what is ChatGPT trying to say right here?
Oh, here we go.
I did not.
I got an idea.
Well, he's thinking. I do apologize for our conversation today. So if you're offended in any way, please put it in the comments down below, but realize we're not professionals on this. And, you know, if you're going to yell at someone, yell at Nathan. Nathan. You know why? I have no idea.
All right, guys. I've got a silly game for the future.
All right.
So I typed in poorly describe this game.
Oh, God. Okay, so on the next episode of Tabletop Gaming Guild, we have our game.
Yeah.
All right.
I just want to say this one because I already typed it in here. See if you guys can guess this one first real quick.
Sure.
All right. Make Mars more like Earth by throwing stuff at it. You could throw cities, forests, and even the sun at Mars.
Oh, terraforming Mars, yeah.
You win by making Mars the most like Earth, which is basically a big rock with a bunch of stuff on it.
Honestly, though, that is a very good description. You are throwing cities and like, I don't know, just put it there. Why? There's nothing there. But I get 2 cards. Yeah. Oh man, it never gets old making fun of terraforming Mars art. All right, so that was our topic. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. So now we're gonna go into our game here. and John didn't get to play this game, but I believe Evan and Nathan were able to play it, and I really enjoy this. I got this copy from HexaQuest, which I believe John got to see them over in the convention there. Which one was that one?
That was at Origins. Yeah.
PAX Origins. Okay.
Yep.
It's a really good game.
Long conversation, from what I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. They're really nice people. It's a really great game. In this game, you would normally put out hex tiles, hence HexaQuest, and you're going to pick either the value or the category, or there's some wild ones in there, and you're going to pull them up, and you're going to have to answer these questions. We're not going to be exactly playing the game correctly. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you each 4 questions, not in a row. We'll go round robin, and you can pick the point value. So the point value can go between 1 and 5 points. All right. And the way we work this is the same as the game in this aspect, where you could do it up to 3 times. However, if you're wrong at any point, you get no points for that round. So you going to get asked a question, you can bank it, and then I'll go on to the next person, or you can ask again, and you're going to have 4 chances. And the person with the most points is going to be the grand winner of this game. So the categories that you have available to you is going to be wise man, gourmet, movie buff, tree hugger, historian, disc jockey, fangirl, which is comics, and gossip girl. So we're going to go ahead, and since John has, did you get to play? You got to play a little bit at the convention, right?
Yeah, I had to play a little bit at the convention. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm going to let you pick a category and a point value between 1 and 5.
All right, is this what we're all going to be doing?
Yeah, you're going to have 4 attempts. So you can get up to 3 questions per attempt. So I'm going to do you, Nathan, then Evan, then you, Nathan, and Evan. We're going to do that 4 times. Person with the most points. Last time I think someone won with 5.
All right, let's go with movie buff one.
The movie buff one, okay. And then how many points do you want to go for?
Let's go for 4.
Okay. What was the first animated film to open Cannes? I'm not sure what that is. What's the first animated film? Oh, okay. So A, Toy Story, B, Finding Nemo, C, Up, or D, Final Fantasy. So you got A, Toy Story, B, Finding Nemo, C, Up, D, Final Fantasy.
Man,
it's a 4-point question, which is next to the most difficult.
Yeah. I'm kind of torn right now between Final Fantasy, because it was kind of like the first really like big 3D animated movie. I don't think maybe Finding Nemo might have been, but I'm gonna go with Final Fantasy. That seems like something Square would.
It was actually C, Up.
Yep.
All right, so 0 points for you, dear sir.
Yep.
All right, Nathan, what category do you want? Wise man, gourmet, movie buff, tree hugger, historian, backpacker, disc jockey, fangirl, or gossip girl? You want to be gossipy girl? That's what you want.
We should all
I know it.
Do 1 round of gossip girl.
1 round of gossip girl. 0 points for everyone.
I'm gonna embarrass myself by going movie buff for 3.
Movie buff
for
3. All right, here we go. Matt Damon is a blank in Stillwater. A, politician, B, police officer, C, dancer, or D, roughneck. I do not know this answer, by the way. Guess I don't know any of these answers.
Stillwater. I think it's a politician, though.
Is that what you're going to go with? A, politician?
Yes.
Okay, it's wrong.
Roughneck.
It is... What's on?
Roughneck?
Yes, it is Roughneck. You would have got points, but no.
That was my second guess, just based on knowing nothing about the movie, just knowing Matt Damon.
All right, Evan, what would you like? Wise man, gourmet, movie buff, tree hugger, historian, backpacker?
I am going to do this. I'm going to go for a 3-point question.
Okay.
James, you can pick my category.
Oh.
Do you know anything about comics?
Do I?
I don't know. Let's find out. All right. I think this will be fun.
I've read almost no comics, but I know a lot about it for some reason.
Okay. Yeah, some of these things, like, if you watch some of the movies or whatnot, you might be getting pretty close. So you said 3-point?
3-point.
All right. Which of these comics hasn't been made into a TV series? So reasonably, you could probably get it. A, Superboy. B, Iron Fist. C, Birds of Prey. Or D, Witchblade.
I would say Witchblade.
Apparently, it is Iron Fist.
No.
What? I've seen Iron Fist.
Iron Fist has been made into a TV series. The correct answer would have been, what was A?
Superboy.
Superboy.
Superboy has definitely been. I've watched it.
Was it? I remember doing Superman, but that wasn't really Superboy though.
All right, so we're googling it. Iron Fist.
Iron Fist.
How old is this game?
Or it was on Netflix. Like it was
Netflix, yeah.
The bad one.
Well, this is brand new.
I don't know about bad. I liked
He
it.
didn't actually do any training and stuff, and they just basically
Oh yeah.
it was no actual stunts, and it was very bad CG. I mean, he tried to.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, apparently all of these are movies.
Wait,
whoa. No,
Which...
TV series. Was Iron Fist a TV series?
Yes, it was a TV
series on Netflix, but it wasn't technically.
But how old is the game?
Like 4 months.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
All right, I'll give you a different one. How about that?
Okay.
That's fair enough. Okay, so who's not an alternate version of Spider-Man? A, the Spider. B, Peter Parker. C, Scarlet Spider. Or D, Bombastic Bagman.
Wait, go through them again.
A, the Spider. B, Peter Parker. C, Scarlet Spider. Or D, Bombastic Bagman.
I'm not completely sure, so I will go with C.
All right, it's actually A, the Spider. Because apparently there's a Bombastic Bagman.
Yeah, that one sounded ridiculous enough to actually be true. So I was like,
yeah, I was like, all right. So, Evan, what would you like?
I
Probably
just
not
went,
the comic one.
Yeah.
So, wise man, gourmet, movie buff, tree hugger, historian, backpacker, disc jockey if you know music, and gossip girl if you want whatever that is.
You know what? I don't want to stick just to my fortes. I'm disappointed I missed one in movies though. So, but you know what? Let's go with tree hugger. Why not?
Tree hugger. Okay, here we go. For how many points?
We'll go with 3.
3. Do stalagmites grow from the ceiling or the floor?
Floor.
Okay, so you say floor.
Stalactites come from the top.
Yeah. Do you want to go again?
Nah, let's bank.
Or you want to bank your 3 points?
I'm gonna bank my 3 points. This is
You're gonna bank your 3 points. So all right, that's probably with this crowd a safe idea, and that's your second question. So you only got 2 more rounds here. All right, Nathan, what would you like?
I know nothing about gossip, so I will go Gossip Girl for 2.
Gossip Girl for 2. This is probably going to be like, oh yeah. Then we're like, oh yeah, sure, you know. All right,
no way I'll know it.
I'm just gonna laugh when you do. You're like, oh yeah, that's blah blah blah. Okay, how many points? 2.
2.
Oh, gosh, I hate these ones. They have people's names. I can't pronounce anything. Who is Peter Sarsagrad's brother-in-law? Oh God, there's a whole bunch of names in here.
You can't even say the names, so how am I supposed to get it?
We're gonna go Mulligan. I can't pronounce any of these people. Mulligan.
Say well enough that I could even have made a guess. I was like,
oh, here we go.
Okay.
I could do this one, but the answer is me. People's Magazine named blank the sexiest man alive in 2020.
James.
A, Chris Evans. B, Michael B. Jordan. C, Brad Pitt. Or D, Idris Elba.
Idris Elba.
Oh,
yeah.
What year?
2020.
Probably Idris Elba.
No, it's Michael B. Jordan.
Yep.
Really?
Idris Elba, I
in
think
2020?
2022.
What the heck is happening? All right.
Sorry, some of us just soak up
Some as
information
well as
from
the
everything.
sexiest people alive.
Well, also one of the years it was Stephen Colbert, and then I think that was, and then the year after that was Paul Rudd or something like that. Paul Rudd was 2021.
By the way, if you would have said me, I would have gave you the 2 points, but your loss. Anyway,
I thought about it actually.
All right, Evan, what would you
not,
like?
Not your name, me specifically.
I'm not opposed to pity points. It's fine.
Yeah, let's do it. What do you want?
Give me another 3-pointer, James. I will let you decide. I'm going to take it out of my hands.
To me, you are a wise man. So, you're going to get wise man for 2 points. What does the 7 stand for in 7 Up? A, luck. B, it came in 7 ounces, bottles. C, 7 days of the week. Or D, 7 C's.
Good luck on that one.
So, A, luck. B, it came in 7-ounce bottles. C, 7 days a week. Or D, 7 C's.
We're going to go with A.
That's also what I would go.
No, it's actually oddly obvious, apparently, because it's in 7-ounce bottles. So it's like the one where you're like, it can't be that one. It is.
The funny thing is, if you hadn't had the B answer, I wouldn't even thought of the soda. I would have thought of the stupid kids game.
Oh, okay. But luck's good because 7's lucky. Yeah, I probably would have gone down the same way, but I looked at the bottom and was like, really? Really?
Yeah, what was B?
All right. What's that?
What was B?
It was in 7-ounce bottles.
Okay.
That's literally why it was called 7-Up, apparently. Okay.
Right, so this next round, I'm taking it out of your hands, James, because apparently you are making me fail.
Yep, that's what I'm doing. All right.
All
So, John, this is your third attempt. What would you like?
All right, I'm gonna go.
And you're currently winning with the only one with points.
Yeah. You want? Let's go 5 points.
Ooh.
What one
Gossip
categories
girl.
have we not done
Gossip.
yet? I'm
So
flexing
we
now.
haven't done gourmet, historian, backpacker, or disc jockey.
All right. Gourmet or historian? Let's go historian.
Okay, 5 points.
Yep.
All right, here we go. When did the Battle of Hastings take place? A, 1044, B, 1066, C, 1088, D, 1122.
I see Evan's face, and he's like, I know when this happened. Because I do. You should have picked this category.
I was letting James pick for me, and you see how well that's working.
Evan didn't even need the multiple choice. I could, obviously.
I didn't.
All right, what do you say, John?
I have no idea. So
You got a 25% chance. Just A, B, C, or D.
let's go with C.
No, it's B, 1066.
Well, I knew it was 1100s, but the other 3 were in the 1000s. I'm like, I don't know.
All right, so Nathan.
You know what?
What category would you like?
It was worth face planting on that one just to see Evan's.
See,
like,
Evan just go like, what is wrong
like,
with you?
How many times, like, every time, like, it gets to everybody else's, I'm like, I know all these other ones except for the one I'm getting.
This is like the Grand
How
Western
do I
Trail
leave
again.
the Zoom call?
Yeah.
So I want board games for 5.
Nope. All right, what do you want?
Let's go
Go with backpacking.
backpacking. Yeah.
You
for
want to
2.
go backpacking?
How do you know I was going to say backpacking?
You want backpacking
Because
for
I'm
2?
that good.
All right. Which is the most popular tourist destination? A, France, B, US, C, Spain, D, Italy. A, France, B, US, C, Spain, D, Italy. Most popular tourist destination.
Man.
Ooh.
Yeah, that.
Got a 25% chance of getting 2 points.
Oh, I think I got it down to 50-50.
So France specifically for honeymooning, but I think Italy might be. You know, actually, I'm going to go U.S. because there's a lot more non-American tourists than there are American tourists.
All right, so it's France.
Ah!
All right.
I was
right,
torn
Evan,
between France and Italy.
Evan, what would you like?
Well, I can't let you pick anymore.
No, that's a bad idea.
I don't know what I was thinking beforehand.
So wise man, gourmet, movie buff, tree hugger, historian, or backpacker?
I should just stick with historian because that's the stuff that I know.
How many points you
want?
4.
4 points. Okay. All right. Which president served 4 terms? A. Abraham Lincoln. D. John Adams. C. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Or C. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Or D. No one.
C.
Yeah. Hey, look, you got 4 points. You want to push your luck. You want to go another question? Or you going to bank your 4 points?
I am going to bank my 4 points.
All right. You are currently winning. Yes.
Man, that was a softball one. Like,
hey.
I've gotten that.
Well, what would you like, John? This is your last chance.
You know what? Let's do movies for 5.
Movies for 5. Okay, here we go. What was the working title of the X-Men Days of Future Past? Okay, so what was the working title of X-Men Days of Future Past? A. Men in Tights. B. X. C. X-Men Legend. Or D. Hello Kitty. So what was the working title of X-Men Days of Future Past?
Because it's definitely not the middle two, because no movie ever really has the actual title and the working title, because that's like, it's kind of like the code word to like, so people don't know what it actually is you're working on.
Mm-hmm.
So
what do you think?
Be A or D.
So A is Men in Tights. D is Hello Kitty.
Let's go with Hello Kitty.
Hello Kitty, you're so pretty. You got it. 5 points. Would you like to push your luck?
You know what? Nah, I'm gonna bank it and make Evan have to at least answer 4.
All right, so you have 8 points. All right, Nathan, what category would you like?
I'm going to go movie buff for 3 again.
Movie buff for 3. We were really hammering this movie buff thing. All right, who played Skip in The Lords of Dogtown? A. Mitch Hedberg. B. Patrick Swayze. C. Heath Ledger. D. Keanu Reeves.
Well, those are all people I know.
So who played Skip in The Lords of Dogtown?
A?
Nope. You have it's Heath Ledger apparently.
Really? Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
The Joker?
Sure. So apparently Nathan's ending the game with 0 points. And it's now down to Evan. Evan, you need to win with 5 or score with 4 for sudden death. Or couple 2-pointers. Or a 2 and a 3.
Dude, we're just going to end it right now.
All right.
Bigger go home.
Give me a
that's
5-point history.
5-point history. What we got. It'll be like, all right.
Something about ancient Mesopotamia or some random crap.
Which country was established in 1867? You have A, Italy, B, Panama, C, Mexico, or D, Canada.
Which country was established when?
1867.
1867.
Yeah. You have Italy, A, B, Panama, C, Mexico, D, Canada.
I believe it would go with Mexico.
No, it's Canada. I'm Canadian, so yeah.
Canada's not a country.
Well, it wasn't before 1867.
Well, I blame Canada.
Blame Canada. All right. So that means John is our winner. And he gets to make fun of everyone until the next episode because he is the winner and the greatest person on the face of the planet. Because that's the title you get with this game.
Nice.
So I hope you guys enjoyed our game and our episode on AI. Tune in next time. We got another cool game and another cool topic. You guys all have a good night.